Evening. Welcome to Baseball Outside the Box, the show that loves to interview baseball's best coaching minds who love to challenge the status quo. I'm your host, Pete Caliendo from South Carolina. And guess what? We have an awesome guest again. Known him since he was 12 years old from Rivabella, Italy. Rivabella was the camp where we held it near Rimini. He was one of the students, believe it or not. Alessandro Maestri, boy, has he come a long ways. Incredible career, very young, and doing a great job, not only for Italian baseball, but he played all over the world, Japan, Australia, Korea, Mexico, and more. The pitching coach, talk about pressure, the pitching coach for the World Baseball Classic Italian national team that stunned the world. Maybe it didn't stun them because they knew the type of team they had. Put together by a good friend of mine, Ned Coletti, did an outstanding job. Obviously, Marco Mazzeri, the president of the federation, the head guy, making big changes in Italy, doing a great job, along with Francisco Cervelli, the manager, who did an incredible job managing in the World Baseball Classic. The most pressure you could have is being a pitching coach for the Classic, and unbelievable. Also want to mention this show is dedicated to our good friend, one of the best pitching coaches in the world and human beings, Bill Holmberg. Met him 35, 40 years ago. He's like a brother. And I know Alessandro will tell you about him. He's incredible. So let's not even waste time. Alessandro's got a great book we're going to talk about. I want to talk about his career. But let me welcome our friend Alessandro Maestri. I don't know if it's Alessandro, Alex. You tell me, buddy. How are you?
No, you tell me, Alessandro, Alex, whatever you want.
I'll mix it
It's great
up.
to be here, man. It's great to be here and see you again. We haven't seen
Yeah.
each other in a while.
The last time I saw you was I remember it was Taiwan, the back of my mind, Taiwan at
Mm-mm.
I think it was the World Cup. We just met right outside the locker room. That was my last picture of when I saw you. That was a long
Yeah,
time.
I think that's it. It was Taiwan, Taichung. Yep,
Taiwan.
long
Yep.
time ago. Yeah, I was still a player, so it's a long time ago.
Yeah. Hey, just for you, little Italian espresso. I had to have it so we can get the show going. I'm hoping Italy's going to be a sponsor. That's why I keep putting it up here. No, I would, but just
Yeah,
for you,
now
Alex.
all the coffee companies
Yeah.
wants to be sponsored now.
My favorite, my no doubt, my favorite coffee in the world, the Italian coffee. And for years I did not know that the Italian grow coffee. Even though I grew up in Italy, also when I was younger, they're great roasters. They buy the coffee from different
Mhm.
places, but their specialty is roasting. I didn't know that, but still, by far my favorite coffee. And it was awesome seeing it in the on the bench at the World Baseball Classic. That was a great thing. Who came up with that, by the way? Before we get into your story.
It started actually not in this WBC, but in the one before. They
Ah,
had this machine in the dugout, and at some point, one of the Italian coaches, went to actually, get a coffee. Like it was just he just wanted to have a coffee, and the camera got on him, and they saw him drinking this coffee, and so it became kind of viral. Um, and then this year, obviously, the machine came back,
yeah,
and that was the thing. Like we were gonna hit a home run. There's gonna be a coffee waiting for the guy that just hit the home run. But I think Pasquantino was definitely the guy that came up with the idea of having this gig when the home run was hit by one of the guys in the team. And it was a lot of fun to see that. I know the cameras were always shooting to the coffee machine and waiting for a home run, and we're all waiting for the home run as well, just to see that funny moment happening. So
yeah. And the other, it was kind of a big culture because it wasn't just the espresso. You know what? Since we're on the World Baseball Classic, I'm going to start with that. Let's not lose
mhm.
the interest here. I think it'd be great, and then we'll get into your book and story too. Um, the other part was, two kisses, one on each side, as the Italians do, when they welcome each other. So that was kind of cool with the espresso and the kissing. So, people around the world got to see that. And that's what I love about the Italians. I mean, I think personally, one of the big things, and you tell me, Alessandro, one of the big things about the team is they seem to gel together. But when you're Italian, you have that family feeling.
Mm.
Whether it's your manager, your GM, your coaches, your federation president, staff, whether you're Italian American or whether you're Italian born like you that came up and played professional baseball and then played around the world. It's that family thing that really
Mhm.
brings guys together, and that's what I love about it. Tell me what was that like? Because you had Americans, Italians, Italian Americans mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, but like you said, I think it's a blood thing. It's not really something that you come up with. But I feel like we are like that. Like we love to hug each other. Even, if we're all men, we love to feel that family and family vibes. And I think it's just something that comes natural to us, even, when we're not playing the classic, but we're doing all the international tournaments with the team. That's the same thing we have going with the staff, with the players, and it's just our way to work together. So that's what we do, but just because it comes natural out of us, we're not trying to make that up. And I think the Italian American guys have that in their blood as well. And so it just, happened. It's not like we came up with the idea of doing it. It just happened.
Yeah, and what's nice, and I'm familiar obviously with Italian baseball quite a bit, but the thing that's kind of cool too is, as being Italian American myself, my parents born in Italy. A lot of the players either had a parent born in Italy or they had a grandparent. They had some history behind,
Mhm.
that. Um, Now, the World Baseball Classic, I'm familiar working it. They supply the meals. Now, did you guys have an Italian chef come in, do your part? Or did you specify Italian food? Did the guys want Italian food? What was that like? Or did you eat whatever they gave you?
Honestly, I was just gonna eat whatever, they had ready for us, and it was always really good.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool how when you play at that level, it's tough to get a bad meal. So we
yeah,
did get
that's
a lot of pasta. I don't know if maybe because they knew it was an
yeah,
Italian team, they were trying to supply us with pasta. But also we had many steaks, and again, the food was every time was really good. But the Italian dishes were always there, like tiramisu at the end,
yeah,
So I think they were trying to spoil us, I
yeah.
guess.
And I'll tell the folks in the US and around the world, people who have traveled to Italy, nothing against American Italian food, but it's a lot different at times because, the pasta's made different in Italy. The sauce, the tomato sauces, the tomatoes are different. I mean, a lot of things are more fresh in Italy. I mean, it's just a fact, and we were just talking offline, and it is true that life expectancy in Italy is about 8 to 10 years higher, that people live longer, especially in Sardinia and some other areas,
Mm.
but even all over Italy. And simply because, the Italian government is very particular about the food that's grown in Italy, and they have special rules, and it's just healthier. So I love that. And you could tell the difference. Every time I go to Italy, the pasta is different than when I eat it here. It's not as filling. And that's because of the ingredients here. But listen, all right, your career, because you get to the classic. Now I know you played professionally, with the Cubs, and you played all over the world. You got a lot of experience. Talk about taking all this world experience and putting it together as a pitching coach. But at the same time, I want to ask you this: you had, I believe, 22 major league players on the club or some number like that. And you've been around a lot of these guys, but now you got to be their pitching coach. How was that experience? How did you deal with that? There had to be a little pressure because of these guys. Some of these guys have played in the big leagues. They pitched a lot of innings. They're pretty experienced. How did you handle that first coming into spring training, into the World Baseball Classic?
No, absolutely. It wasn't easy for me. Also because I'm a young pitching coach. I'm a rookie.
Hmm.
I've only been a pitching coach for a few years, and I have so much to, get better at. And it's different when you work with young players and they're ready to listen whatever you tell them, and it's different when you have to work with guys like you said that already been in the big leagues. They're pitching in the big leagues. I know I've definitely got to do less with them. You know, I know they have their routine. I know they know what they're doing. I know they know how to fix their mistakes. And so, honestly, I really didn't do much with that group of guys just because they knew how to go about their, their job. And so the other thing that I was really lucky is to have right next to me Dave Righetti is was the other pitching coach in the team.
Mhm.
So I was really silent, to be honest with you. I wasn't talking much. I was just trying to absorb as much as I could from Dave and also from Sal Fasano. He was also in the team. He was our bullpen coach. But those guys, they know so much about the game that honestly, I was just trying to absorb, like I said. And the other thing that maybe I was more involved. It was in during the game, and just watching the game and kind of think about what I could do for the team in terms of kind of looking ahead of the game and see how we could use the bullpen and stuff like that. But all this conversation, I was always lucky to have these conversations with Dave and also Cervelli. So I was very comfortable being next to them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's an incredible staff because I forgot Sorelli, former catcher, also. Catchers obviously know the game, really, really well. Him and Fasano, and then you got, like you said, Righetti. What did it look like? Was your team meetings? You had a meeting preparing for the next club, and then they had your scouts out there. And then what did the meetings look like what kind of discussions did you have?
Man, those meetings were super professional. Ned Coletti did a great job, like you said. Did a great job putting the team together and also setting all these meetings up. We always had two guys, um, talking to us. They were like on the phone, giving us the opening team. One guy was talking about pitching, the other guy about hitting, and then it was a big group, big staff of us. It was almost like 12 people, just listening to them and then kind of like having our discussions. And so, yeah, again, preparation was huge. I think the staff did a great job in preparing those games, and then obviously the players did the rest. But it was great. Again, Cervelli, Fasano, Waters. We also had Jorge Posada. Francisco was always
Oh
talking
yeah,
to Jorge Posada as well. Like, I mean, you know, I said
wow.
it all, I guess, just naming all these people.
Yeah, having all those catchers, especially
Mm.
understanding the game real well, understanding swings and counts, and did once you had your game plan, the catchers handled most of the calling, or were there changes from the from the dugout at times?
No, the catchers always pretty much ran the game. We also had Kyle Teal that unfortunately got hurt in the game against USA. He's another guy that really impressed me. The way he goes about his job, the way he prepares games, the way he studies hitters, and also JJ Dorazio had to come in, and also he did a great job and taking care of all that. So again, we had great staff, but also great professionals in terms of players that really like took care of their business.
Out of the whole picture, I mean, you're talking about. I don't care what anybody says. You got major league players that are playing on the club, just like everybody else had. But you guys you beat USA, you beat Mexico. I mean, those are two top countries who, have a large selection of players. I mean, the Americans have 26 million amateur players in the US, just amateur players, not counting professionals. Mexico obviously has a big pool selection. And I know not every team can always get every player, but the US had by far on paper the best team. along with Venezuela and along with Puerto Rico, obviously, and some other clubs. What did you overall? What did you think? What was your feeling that made the club do so well? What was the major reason? Was there one particular reason or a couple that you felt were you there, Alessandro?
Sorry, you
Did I
hear me?
lose you?
Yeah, for some reason when call comes in, it just stops the call. I'm so sorry.
No,
You
that's
were
all
asking
right.
me something?
Yeah, no, no. In general, what did you think was the main reason or reasons, couple, two or three, it could be, why the Italian team did so well? I mean, obviously you put a good team together,
Yeah.
but what did you feel that? How did you gain that momentum? How did it? How did? I guess that's the area I want to kind of get into.
Yeah, again, our leader. I mean, it all started from Ned Coletti, and then it came down to Francisco, which he was our leader, and he did a great job, and tried to find a way to make the team bond.
I think Alex is getting a lot of phone calls on his phone,
Yeah, I
but he'll
have
be
to
right.
find a way. I have to find a way to shut these calls. Anyway, like we had yeah, Ned Coletti, and then Francisco, which was our leader. He did a great job in finding a way to make the team bond in such a short amount of days. And then Pasquantino was the other guy that really did the rest. In the house, like he was the guy that found a way to make all the players get together in a couple of days. That so he was the other guy that really did, I think, 80% of the job in terms of putting all the players in the right place to actually just play the game, perform, have fun, and feel like they were part of something bigger than just themselves. And um, and so and then how baseball is. You win a couple of games, you gain momentum, you gain confidence, and when you have confidence, um you take the field, and you're you're confident you might be able to win against anybody, and then you win against USA, and then you really like think that you
Yeah.
can win against anybody. Um so that's what happened. And obviously, I mean, the crazy thing, we lost like Venezuela in the final, and we were kind of upset. Like, we could have actually got to the finals. Like
No
we
doubt.
definitely had a chance. And so that's crazy. That's the cool part about baseball, I think.
Yeah, not bad either that Venezuela won. I mean, so you almost had them beat, and you almost had the top team beat, which is
Yeah.
incredible. But tell me about Cervelli, because I think a lot of coaches can learn from this. I'm familiar with short spring trainings, a couple of weeks, and then you got to go play in an international event.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about Cervelli, how he kind of got these guys together. What techniques or methods or things that he used to kind of bring them together?
He just has it. He just has it,
Yeah.
man. He knows how to talk to the group. He knows how to talk
Mhm.
to individuals. We also did a thing one morning. It was hour and a half. A guy actually came in, and I can't remember the name of the guy. He was awesome. But we did this team bonding hour and a half that we all laughed together, and even that was a great moment to kind of starting to know each other. Um, so Francisco is really big on that. Really big
Mm.
on working on the group of players. He also did that with our national team last year, the European Cup. Our national team been struggling for some years. We also at some point ended up ninth in the European Cup, which was like basically disaster for our national team. We weren't used to that. We're always either winning or second or maybe third. And so the team was down, obviously confidence wise. and Francisco, he was able in a heartbeat to like get that confidence back up again. So again, he just does it. Yeah, it's tough to tell you like what it really does, but he's driven by his heart. Like he's a heart kind of guy, and so he puts everything on the table, and he really does it because he cares for others. And when you see that, you feel it, then you're ready to, give that love back to him, and so people appreciate him, but there's a reason why, because he does it well, like, and he does it by, driven by his heart, which is the coolest thing.
But you know what you said? You just said, I really can't really tell you exactly. But let me tell you, you told me exactly, because the things you mentioned are extremely important in my opinion. I think that's, baseball, a lot of people know the X's and O's, and they know the game a little bit, and they know how to manage situations and all that because they got experience and all that. But, getting the team chemistry, people talk about it all the time. One, quality players, which Ned Coletti and the group, the staff got together, because if you don't have quality people, you don't have good chemistry. Then you got a manager like Cervelli and doing the things you just said. I think that's valuable. I think that's more valuable than the X's and O's during the game, because, like you said, doing all that, the players now want to play 110% for you. They'll do anything. I saw this a little bit. I want to mention to you, I was in Germany and the Czech Republic with the Cervelli. I saw Cervelli's travel
The
teams,
academy.
academy
Yeah.
teams. And I saw something, because I know Cervelli wasn't there, but his coaches were, and I saw something in the teams, the way they played. You can see it right away. And I thought, wow, this is different than what I saw in the past with some of the Italian national teams. Now, the Italian national teams under Bill Holmberg were, with as pitching coach, they were doing really good at one time. So I remember those times also. But lately, I mean, in Germany and Czech, I saw something different. I thought, wow, this is special. And it seemed to carry over into what you're talking about. And then now you get to Pasquantino, and he's doing his thing. He's just a fun guy to be around, and the players really loved him?
He's awesome. He's awesome. Like, I didn't know him, obviously. I mean, I knew who he was, but I never got a chance to meet him before. I think he's the perfect guy um to be a captain, just because he puts the team in front of himself. He struggled the first three games. Like, he
Yep.
didn't get a hit. And even though he was struggling, you should see the speeches he had at the end of always, like, saying good things about everybody else, and never like talking bad about himself, maybe making some jokes. Hey, I'm definitely gonna find a way to get a hit as well, guys. But always putting everybody else in front. He had a bad game. He was still like super happy that we won. It was never about himself. And then he had that game against Mexico, three home runs, and we won
Yeah.
thanks to him. And so, but yeah, you should have seen the speeches he had after all the games that we played, because we were always giving away a bottle of wine to the best pitcher of the game and a bottle of wine to the best position player of the game.
Oh, wow.
And he was the one talking. He was the one getting on top of the table and talking, and it was always gave you a goosebump to hear what he had to say. And so yeah, people loved him. But this is
Yeah,
this is the
no,
reason
again,
why.
and that's why I wanted to talk about this, because people talk about chemistry all the time and wonder, well, what does that really mean? How do you put it together? Does it just come together by itself? No, it's actually created by good people
Mm.
that understand what it takes to win as a team, as a teammate, even though, like you said, when they're doing bad. Take us a little bit. I'd like to hear a little bit, just briefly, about your spring training, because the team got together for a couple of weeks. What was the what was Cervelli's main focus? You told us about how he gelled the team together, but what from a tactical standpoint, what was the strategy? What to work on during that time period? Since the players really didn't know each other, never played together.
Yeah, again, I mean, just had them try to get to know each other as quick as they could, and then just I think had them, kind of like get ready to go and play this big tournament. Try and feel comfortable, and try never to put them in, and feel the pressure about the tournament. Always one good thing that I heard from one of his interview after the WBC, it was like, I didn't have any meeting before USA game. I didn't do anything different, because that's when people might start panicking. Like,
Oh, sure.
we never had maybe a meeting about, the other team, or we did, but I'm not gonna do anything different just because it's USA game. And we're gonna treat all the game the same way, just because all the games are basically the same. You gotta get on the field and try to give the best you have. And that day, if it's not your day, it's gonna be your teammate day. Probably is gonna pick you up. And so again, Francisco is just good at try to put everybody in the right place and never put pressure on anybody. If something goes wrong, is the guy that takes the blame for it. Is not gonna talk bad about any of his players. And so I think it's just small things. Sometimes you don't have to do that much. Sometimes less is more, like they say. And so he's just good at, kind of dealing with all those little things.
Hey, folks on Facebook, I see some people on Facebook. You got a question for Alex or about the World Baseball Classic or anything else? Go ahead and ask that. And my good friend Eddie Diaz, who is in my eye, is a Hall of Fame manager. I've never heard of someone who has won 3 consecutive championships. He might have been calling 3 consecutive championships in the Mexican League, and then 2 in the Caribbean World Series, all 5 championships he won in 3 years, which was incredible.
Congrats.
Man, but great friend of mine has always been supportive of the podcast and me, and I just want to give him a shout out. Hey, the other part of this, Alex, is in spring training. I know you got the reports and of the pitchers, and obviously you've got all these catchers and the manager that's a catcher, and they know a lot about the pitchers. But you still have to put these guys together when they're going to pitch certain situations. Did you guys do anything to prepare for that in spring training, or was that just something from reports that you had? How did you handle the pitchers in spring training?
No, honestly, we got there with an idea, but it's never enough, I feel like, until you actually see the guy and you get to know him.
Yeah. By then it could be too
Reports,
late.
it could be too late.
Right.
That's true. But then I think you gotta go with what you feel. And also, like, we all been players before, and we all know this game is all about confidence. There are some
Mhm.
guys, when guys are playing with confidence, you could throw that guy in the game whenever. It could be first, last inning, whenever. And then, maybe you get an outing which is a little shaky, and it's normal that there's some guys that are gonna come back out next time and, do good right away, and some others are gonna maybe take another outing too. And so it's kind of, I think you just kind of have to go with what you feel, and sometimes you might be wrong, but um, I think that's what you're supposed to do. And again, the good thing was that I could have this conversation with guys like Dave and Francisco and Sal. So, you know, that definitely makes your job easier. And but yeah, it all worked out. We were able to pitch all the guys and try not to overuse anybody, obviously, because you're also caring about their career and it's early, and you don't want to mess with that. And I think all went pretty well. So we're
Yeah,
really happy about that.
and the advantage again, we'll keep saying it. Whoever put this coaching staff together with all these catchers, with the manager and everything else, I mean, there's a lot, and plus your scouting information. I mean, that's a lot of information. So you're already ahead of the curve. Listen, you mentioned. I like to hear this. You mentioned the mental part. You know, because it is the game's mental, and that's why we talked about character players, because you got character players, they handle the mental part a little bit better. You know, the failure aspect, because you're going to fail and everybody understands that. But sometimes not everybody knows how to deal with the failure.
Mhm.
During the classic, whether the Italian team or maybe you saw something from another player on another team, um, what did you learn about guys that failed and how they kind of recuperated from that, or even experience you failed in professional baseball and playing in Japan and other places? What were some techniques you used to get that out of your mind? Was there anything that you dealt with that you used yourself?
Yeah, I mean the mental part, it's very big for me. Just because at a young age I was very strong, and I was able to bounce back right away after a bad outing. That was my thing. But then I got to a point actually in 2008. I had a shoulder problem at the end of the season. I didn't need surgery or anything, but it took me a while to get back in shape. And I was also trying to change my mechanics to not feel the pain.
Mm.
And I ended up losing the feel and the release point. So I also went through having the yips in my career.
Oh wow.
And when you're talking about mental, that's definitely one of the things that really destroys you inside mentally. And so it took me a while to kind of overcome that. But definitely, big part for me was also starting to work with a mental coach and working with a sports psychologist that taught me, ways to kind of control anxiety. Because at some point, then I started to feel anxiety, and that's why, to me, um, the mental aspect of the game is so big. Just because I really had to deal with that in my playing career, but that also made me understand, many things, and I kind of feel like I'm really empathic. Is that how you say? As a
Pathetic, yeah,
coach,
pathetic.
empathic as a coach, yeah. If I wouldn't always been like the first part of my career where I was bouncing back every time because I was mentally strong, probably I wasn't nowadays. Probably that good at being empathic, like I am now after all this failure that I had at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that obviously you get on the mound, like you want to give your best, like nobody wants to do bad or suck or like have a bad outing. And sometimes it's just a matter of like not being ready up there, and it happens. But I mean, it took me again a while. It was a big journey for me. Uh, so I got to a point where I was like really down with everything in my career. But then the cool part was actually that I was able to kind of go back up and find a way to have some success in my career and just accomplish
What,
some of the things that I was able to accomplish.
what did you have to do to get back up? Because there's one thing about getting down, but it's a long process, obviously. But
Yeah.
what were some of the things that you had to do?
No, there was a lot of work that I was doing by myself, like in my room before going to bed, to visualize, to work on my breathing, work on my on positive self-talk, because I got to a point where I couldn't even control that. It was all bad and negative. And so there was, a lot of work that I've done outside the field and away from the ballpark. um, but then also, like, we're talking about the environment. I I really think if you're in the right spot, in the right team, in the right environment,
Mm.
it's gonna help you being best version of yourself. And sometimes you're in teams where it's not the right atmosphere for you if you're in a certain place. Um, and that's also huge. So to me, I kind of got it back in Australia. I went to play in Australia 2011 after having like a very bad year in the States in dependent ball. I was playing Lincoln, Nebraska. I struggled, and somehow I got this opportunity to go to Australia, and then it just clicked. I found great teammates,
Mm.
very good pitching coach that helped me out working on some things, and I got my confidence back. And then I was back. I was like, oh, it's me again, you know. And I could feel
Nice.
everything again. I could feel my release point. I could feel what I was doing wrong. I wasn't feeling that anxiety anymore, and so again, I was the same guy in 2011 in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I was the same guy in Australia, but I found the right environment that helped me out. Being myself, and
Yeah, I
so
know, and that's what's great about, and I'll go back to Pasquantino. I mean, that's what's great by having a guy like him, because look, he wasn't doing so well at the beginning, and then all of a sudden, boom, he clicks.
yep.
Others see that. Plus, if somebody's down, I'm sure he was around to get on their butts a little bit. Hey, this ain't the time to get down. You'll do fine. It only takes one pitch, one hit, one this, one that. I mean, that's the type of guy you need in your clubhouse, kind of help those guys.
Yeah, yeah, you said it. And actually, when you asked me before, I was gonna tell about Pasquantino. One of the guys that I saw being strong mentally was definitely him. And again, like, he's our leader. I mean, it was their leader, like in the clubhouse, and so guys look up to him. Like they see him acting like that, and they're gonna like do the same. If he
Mhm.
comes down, probably the whole team comes down. But it was always right there. It was always like up there, and all the guys felt comfortable and wanted to play for him. It's kind of like in soccer, Argentina won the last World Cup. All the guys were playing for Messi.
Oh
Messi
yeah.
was their leader. All the guys wanted to play for him. They wanted him to win the World Cup. Never won one, and it's crazy. It was their leader, and everybody just bound together. And kind of the same thing happened for us. I feel like.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you said it well. When you're down and you're with a group of guys that are really good guys, again, we go back to character. You start to change your thinking, your mental thinking to more positive. So I can see that, boy. That's why it's so important, putting together a team that's quality. Hey, during this whole time, I mean, it's an incredible experience. Give us a couple things that you just learned that you said, "Wow, this is incredible. I could really use this as a coach."
I learned a lot from Sal Fasano in terms of like looking at hitters and their swing and how to pitch them. I still have a lot to learn, but it was pretty cool to see him doing that. He was really good at that. Obviously, being a catcher and also a coach now. Learn a lot from him. But from Dave was crazy how humble he is. Dave, because basically they told us that me and Francisco were the two main, guys, because we were also from the Italian national team.
Sure.
But it was tough for me to like kind of like being on top of Dave. Like
Yeah.
I never felt like that, and he was always like, but he was always the one like giving, like putting me, in front, you know. Like he was also, hey, you're the pitching coach, like you do it, like. And I was like, okay, Dave, but you should probably do it because you know more than I do. But again, that's another thing that I learned from him. How I really like that people like being so humble, even though they had all they had in the past, all they won, all they accomplished. That's something that I really like about people, and just seeing how he goes about the game. He talks to the players. That was something that I was always trying to look for, and kind of pay attention what he was doing, and And so, small things that you kind of see here and there, you kind of like, you know, save it in your memory up here, and you know, hopefully at some point I'm gonna be able to do something similar to what they're used to.
But that's a sign of a good leader. So I like that. I mean, good leaders, put others in front and give them the opportunity
Mm.
to do some things. And uh, you know, back to Fasano on the hitters. Uh, obviously he knew the swings. He can see the swings and all that. Did he study film, or was it mostly from watching games?
No, that's another great thing. I mean, the States, especially when you're big leagues, there are some. You go on internet or whatever. There's some website that you have access on, and you can see like so much. Like you have so much information, so many information about hitters that is crazy. Sometimes it's even too much for me that I'm not used to see all that. When we have European Cups and I do the scouting, we don't have that much, and I have to
Right.
like try to make the best of it. But at that level, oh my God, like you could see that pitch that pitcher pitched on September 11th, and you can see it from 7 different cameras. And Sal is so used to use those website that it just goes so fast. And it's like, yeah, you see this is type A hitter, this is type B, type C. It's like, wow, like it would take me maybe 3 hours to even like go through one hitter, and he just does it in 5 minutes. Um, so
Yeah.
it's pretty-
That's a lot of work behind the scenes, obviously, and it
yeah.
shows because of the results too. How about Rigetti? Was there something pitching wise that you heard from him that he consistently said? Obviously he's individually the players, but was there something consistent? Like first pitch strike, or something that he really believed that pitchers needed to focus on the most?
No, one thing that I liked about Dave, that he keeps it simple, you know. Maybe it's a little more old school, which that's what I'm kind of used to as well. With all this technology that came in, is a little more, keep it simple, like, find a way to fix the small things in your mechanics. Don't think too much about too many things, because some guys are now with all this information that you get, because you get a lot of information as a player. Sometimes you don't even know like what to look for, or you have questions. And so one thing that I saw from Dave is just keep it simple, okay, just release up front and just small things. So yeah.
Cool. Hey, by the way, I know you saw it, and I took a video, not a great video, but I took a video of you going out to one of the innings to go talk to your pitcher, right? And I thought that was a big highlight. Talk about the World Baseball Classic. You're going out. You're the pitching coach of the national team for the Italian national team. I mean, that's big time. I mean, it's really a big deal. So it's kind of cool, and I put that on social media. Give us an idea. You don't have to tell us specifically, but give us an idea when you go out to the pitcher, when you've gone out to the pitchers, some of the things that you said or had to say or did not say, or I don't know. I mean, because nobody really gets to hear what a pitching coach says on the mound, right?
Hmm.
Give us an idea what you might have been saying to your pitchers.
Yeah, actually, I saw that video. It was pretty cool to read also what you wrote. But yeah, it depends. I think the game tells you what to tell the pitchers. Obviously, with the American guys, I was trying to keep it simple again, because they're guys that have been at that stage before, and they don't need to hear many things from you. I definitely kind of feel like I can say a little more to the Italian guys, not
Right.
because not because they're not ready for that moment, because if they were there, like they definitely deserve to be there, and they were ready for it. I really enjoyed one of the mound visit that I did with Claudio Scotti, one of our
Mhm.
pitcher, and it was against Mexico. As soon as I walked out of the dugout, the whole stadium started to boo me. It was so loud, like everybody's just going like boo. and I enjoyed it so much. I really moment, and I remember going up to Claudia. I was like, because he was kind of struggling, but it's normal. Like the stadium was loud. It was a big moment, and the game was going fast. Obviously, that happens. And so I was just like, Claudio, this is your moment. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna freaking, you're gonna find a way to, you know, to 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 get them. Like this is your moment, and you're gonna get out of this because it's your moment, and you're gonna take care of it. Um, and yeah, he got two big outs after that. Then we changed him because there was a guy coming up. I think we put a lefty. Can't remember now. But then it was also funny. He came out of the game, and it was like, man, that place was so loud. I couldn't even hear my thoughts. It was like, yeah, it was loud.
But you know, a lot
But
of
yeah,
times that's what they need, right? They just need a little positive reinforcement,
mm,
to let them know, hey, you can get this done. I mean, this, like you said, this is your moment. That's a great line. And like you said, you don't have to say a lot. The other part is, if I'm correct, you guys never really had a home field advantage because most of the time Mexico had a lot of fans, the USA had a lot of fans. So there was no home field advantage, was there?
never. And the one that surprised me the most was in Houston against Puerto Rico. I didn't know there were that many Puerto Ricans in Houston. I don't know how they
Yeah.
got there. That place was loud as well. It was crazy. I knew against Venezuela in Miami it was gonna be crazy
Sure.
because there's so many Venezuelan in Miami. But yeah, we played in four different countries. In Mexico, we played in Mexico. We played in the States. Basically, we played in Venezuela, and then we played in Puerto Rico. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
it's
you
cool.
had,
It's
that's what's amazing is that you also not only had to overcome these top teams, but you had to overcome that noise, that non-home field advantage. I mean, you guys really broke through these barriers that I think were incredible. It was just an awesome experience. Hey, is there some what I know it can't be maybe one thing, but best experience of the classic that you had? Obviously, the end result, you know, what you guys accomplished, that's the pinnacle. I understand that. But was there one experience for you personally during the classic that was just like a wow, wow, this was awesome. This was incredible.
eh, I mean, there's so many things that it would be hard for me to you know
Pick
come
one.
up with a list. But there was a moment which it might be like it's very simple. Uh, obviously being the pitching coach, you're out there with the starting pitcher every time during their warm up. And I had this moment, Sam Aldegheri, Italian guy that actually was the first Italian born to get leagues. Uh, he was starting against Puerto Rico. And, we were on the field and the national anthem started. And we just kind of look at each other and he smiled at me and I kind of smiled back to him. I mean, that smile and that look, it was just like, hey, man, like, we're here. Look at this place. Look where we are. The importance of this game. Because we played together when I was still playing in the national team. He was 16 and I was like one of the oldest guy in the team. It was probably one of my last few years that I played. But that moment, we kind of look at each other. It was like, hey, man, like this is pretty freaking cool that we're here and we kind of on the same field again in a different situation now. Um, but again, that was a moment that kind of was like, ah, this is cool. And so
I
again,
could
it's pretty
understand that.
simple. It's a pretty
Yeah,
simple
no,
memory, but that moment to me it was pretty cool. It was good.
absolutely. I love that. Hey, all right, let's take us back because you and I met when you were, I think, 12 years old in Rivabella at the camp. I think that was the first
Mm.
time we met. And, obviously been a long time. But since then, you've accomplished a lot of things and you got a lot more to go. That's what's great about your life is there's so much you got going for you that I think you're going to do even greater things. And you've already done, some incredible stuff. I mean, to be the pitching coach, I don't care who else, if you got two coaches, 10 coaches that are pitching coaches, but to be a pitching coach, on the World Baseball Classic, Italian national team, or any national team, is just remarkable. It all started when you started playing baseball when you were a young kid. Then you wrote a book about it, okay, in Italian, Come non l'ho mai visto. Baseball come non l'ho mai visto. For you guys, it's how you never saw baseball before. This is Alex's life in baseball. He wrote a book about himself and his career so far. He's going to have to expand on that book. He's going to have to write a second book because there's going to be a second chapter to all this in the next 20, 25 years. I guarantee you. Here, start us off. Your career, 12 years old, whatever, however young, you 9 years old, you start playing baseball. And then how did you get into coaching? Kind of take us in that path a little bit.
Yeah, I actually started when I was 5. But yeah, I
Wow.
mean, I fell in love with the game. Again, found the right environment when I was a kid. Rivabella and Torre Pedrera Falcons, where I played since I was 5 until I was 18, was perfect for me because we always had great environment, great coaches. We also had Donald Landolfi, which is a coach from the States. You probably know him.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was
We were
huge.
together.
He was
Yep.
huge because he came to Italy when I was, a teenager, and he really helped me out in those years that are not that easy for, a player when you're a teenager. And so
That he,
again, I was really lucky. Mm,
hey, real quick, sorry to interrupt, but
yeah.
you brought up Landolfi because I've known Donald a long time and he's helped me a lot. He was like a second father. The you talk about the mental game. He's so positive. I'm sure at that time when you were young, just feeling that positive, atmosphere that he has, it almost carries into you.
Yeah, and it was tough. He had energy. Like he could
Yes.
transfer all that energy that he had, and uh, and he was teaching you how to man up too in like tough situations. Like he was able to give you that. And again, it was huge to me. And uh, yeah, it was huge to all of us, all the players that play in the team. They all remember Don in a very good way. And he was a big league manager for us, and
Oh yeah.
because his knowledge and the way he went about it was great. So again, yeah, I was lucky to be in this team until I was 18. Then I played 1 year in the Serie A with San Marino. But also I was also lucky because then I started to work with Bill Omberg in the Italian academy when I was 18. He started to be my pitching coach, and that's when, I also like were able to gain some miles per hour on my fastball and kind of work on my pitches. He was used to me, and he was also the guy that ended up signing me because in those years he was the scout for the Chicago Cubs. So he was
Hmm.
my pitching coach, and he was the guy that gave me the opportunity to go to the States. And then again, once I got to the States, I was 20. I was kind of old for an international player, but I really had the desire to really do something for me and for my country because I always had my country in my heart to represent my country outside of Italy, obviously, and in the States. It was kind of hard to see an Italian player in those years. And so I kind of like brought that with me every time I was, on the field, on the mound. I was really trying again play for me, but also play for a country. And again, I did really well until 2008. My first 3 years in minor leagues, I was doing really good as a reliever. I also started in 2008. But then after I had that issue with the shoulder and I tried to change my mechanic and I came back and I wasn't the same. And I struggled. I struggled. 2009 was a big struggle for me. Also having the yips and probably at that time I found myself in the wrong um, environment. I had a pitching coach that probably I'm not gonna tell anything bad about him, but it was probably the guy that I shouldn't had in that time of my career where I was struggling. It wasn't helping me
Hmm.
out coming out of that moment. And so it just happened, I ended up getting released. I played 1 year in the American Association in Lincoln, Nebraska. Again, I struggled, and somehow I finished strong the last few games, and I was like, man, I kind of want to keep playing, and so find a way to go to Australia, and I was able to carry that good feeling that I had at the end of the American Association season. And then crazy life. There was a Japanese guy that was coming to watch our games in Australia. And I was like, hey man, like if you want, I can get you a team, an independent ball team in Japan, if you want. And I was like, why not? I mean, I got nothing else. Ended up going in 2012 to Japan to play independent ball. And again, 3 months as a closer for that team. As a closer in 3 months, I pitched 50 innings. I was sometimes coming in the fourth inning and pitched the rest
Wow.
of the game. That was closing.
Closer,
um,
starter, yeah, middle
yeah,
closer.
but yeah, the team did great. I also did great, and then ended up signing with the Oryx Buffaloes, major league team in Japan, and ended up playing for them for 3 years and a half, and that was a great experience for me. Playing all these big stadiums, a lot of fans, just crazy. Life took me on that side of the world, and also after all the struggle that I had in 2009 and 10, when I thought, okay, I'm probably gonna go back home and play in Italy and find a job because this is it. Obviously, like my dream is over, and then somehow I was lucky and to somehow get another opportunity that I never thought I was gonna get. So 3 years and a half in Japan, then I ended up pitching 1 year in South Korea. I did struggle there again. Kind of like bad thoughts kind of came back in my mind, and again I was down there again, that bad place. So then it's been kind of up and down for the end of my career. But every time I would go back to Australia because then I went 2 more times and I went to play for Sydney Blue Sox. Then it was me again. Australia, like I always pitched really good in Australia. That was my place.
Wow.
And I thought about going there to finish my career in 2020. But then COVID came and so I couldn't travel and I was like, okay, this is it. I wanted to finish in Australia, but I couldn't, and I'm not gonna pitch anymore. Kind of want to take care of my family now and do something else. So I was fine with not playing anymore, just because for me mentally it was pretty tough. It's been very stressful at some point, and so yeah, here I am now. Then I wasn't planning on coaching. And until a guy in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization that I play with asked me if I wanted to try. So I went there in 2022 just for 3 weeks to help out because there was Reni Duarte in extended spring training with Pittsburgh
Mhm.
Pirates. That kind of was by himself because two coaches, one that was helping him out, ended up going back to play, and another coach was having issues with, personal issues with family. And so they asked me if I wanted to go and try and help Rennie out. And so I did, and didn't know what to expect. But those 3 weeks were great. I really enjoyed being there and being able to help some of the guys out, and then I had to do it, you know, for the whole year. And so I did. I went to the Dominican Republic and I worked with them in the Dominican Republic in their academy, and that was also really good experience. So
I
here I
can
am
imagine.
now.
I'll tell you what, you have those ups and downs, but putting all that together, all these experiences, different countries, the classic, Italy, you can put all those experiences together. It just makes you a much better coach, pitching coach, person, understanding the game globally. We're very lucky. The show's in 120 countries right now. And the guys that are listening to me, they know I love Japanese baseball. It's one of my favorites. You've been there 20, 25 times, but there's a reason for it. And before I get to that, is it Michele Grassolini says hello. to both of
Ciao
us.
Michele.
Michele, yeah, he just happened to be checking us out. Oh, Michele, I got to get him on there somehow. Um, Japanese baseball. Give me something that you're experiencing in Japan, especially the Onyx Blues. I mean, that they're one of the top major league teams. Another great accomplishment. The something you learn from the Japanese, because one thing I notice about pitchers that go to American pitchers that go to Japan or Korea, you see them, even big league guys that go there, they come back better. Is there something you picked up there that really helped you that you can help other pitchers with?
I mean, I picked up a lot, but it was probably like stuff that kind of worked for me, you know. And I know there's also like many players that go there and struggle, and it's not for everybody, you know. It's different way of playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I really respected the way they were doing their things. They do it, sometimes they do it differently. Their workouts, at least when I was there, maybe now they changed, but they were really long. You could be on the field forever.
Yeah, they're still
You
doing
could
that.
be there. Okay, because I don't know if maybe they've changed that.
No, no, no.
But I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed like that as well because that's what I was used to, and if they tell me to do that, I will do it. And so I really bonded with the culture. I was ready to do whatever they asked me to do, and I think that's another reason why I lasted 3 years and a half there. Then obviously, it got to a point where the team wasn't doing so good, so they wanted to change all the foreigners in the team, which is understandable. Um, but yeah, it's different baseball again. In the States, at least when I pitch in the States, there's way much power from hitters in Japan. Sometimes you give up runs, you're like, how did that even happen? Like, just an infield hit and then, another crazy hit with a broken bat, and then the guy steals the base. And like, God, I already gave up
That's
3 runs, and
that's their game.
and so you just gotta learn how to pitch in a different type of baseball. But again, I really enjoy the culture. Again, the respect they have for the game, for others, and me and my wife actually met there. My wife is from Argentina, but we met in Japan. We met in Tokyo, and
Oh
so every
wow.
time there's something in Japan or we have to go to Japan, we're so happy. Like
Oh, me
I
too.
would be so happy to live 6 months in Italy and 6 months in Japan. That would be great.
I agree with you. I might do that too. Japan, Italy. Nothing against the U.S., but I've been here long enough. That might be a good thing. Hey, physically, did you get in better shape in Japan, or did you not have time for that, or how'd that go?
I lost weight. I
Yeah,
definitely got skinnier. Yeah, because I was running so much.
yeah.
And the food is so good. Like I would eat so much over there, but it's so it's not really greasy. It's very light. So you could go and eat forever, and then after a few hours, you're already good to go to eat again. And yeah, I lost weight. I think I was a little stronger in the States. In Japan, I was pretty skinny, but
Well,
it worked out anyway.
most people, I think most people nowadays doing the research know this has nothing to do with baseball, but Japan and Italy have, they're called the blue zones, and that's some of the healthiest meals, and they're completely different type of meals too.
Mm,
So you can see that you can be healthy with different meals. It doesn't have to be just one country's, but no doubt about it, life expectancy and as far as healthier food, those two countries are at the top of the list. Hey, you wrote a book, okay?
mm.
Um, why did you title it "Baseball come non l'ho mai visto"? Baseball like you've never seen before.
Yeah, I mean the real title is Mae Sutori, which is Mae Sutori was the way they used to call me in Japan because Maestri, the way they read it, it's Mae Sutori.
Ah,
But then down down below it says, yeah, baseball come non l'ho mai visto. Just because so many things happen,
yeah,
and
your
I
career
I
is
really
different.
yeah, and I really I never like I don't talk too much about like very like complicate baseball things because I wanted this book to be for anybody, especially in Italy. Like not that many people know baseball, so it's more about everything that I felt, like the way I lived life when I was traveling. It also talks about baseball, but it also talks a lot about all the feelings that I had, what I was going through, all these, the moment that when I had the yips, or the moment where things were going good, and it just talks about the old, you know, and I wanted to share this with people just because, especially here in Italy, that
Mhm.
some of the people follow my career, they only probably thought that I was always good, okay, Maestro, yeah, has always been good. That's why he succeed, so everything went fine because he was good.
Well, it was not
Uh,
fine.
you know, yeah, I mean, obviously I had talent in this game and I had tools, but it wasn't easy. Like I had moments where I was basically depressed because I couldn't do what I was good at. I couldn't do it anymore. And so it was not that easy. And I want kids and guys that play the game, or even people that don't know anything about baseball, to understand that it's never easy. And I don't think it's easy for anybody. It's easy to think that, oh, everything goes fine to the guy because he's good. Like, but there's struggle in everybody, I think. And much less, but I don't, it's never easy for anybody.
But that makes sense. You know what? I really like that because I think a lot of young players can learn a ton from that. And what I mean by that is, okay, Italian baseball, we all know has a pro league, and the pro league's pretty good. It's somewhere between maybe a ball to triple A ball, depending on who's pitching, or maybe a good independent league, which I'm familiar with. But understanding that, whether it's Italy or any place in Europe, or even in some places in Latin America, not the big countries. But anytime you take a foreign player and you bring them in the U.S., now you're playing against some really top level teams at a young age. Even though you played in the Serie A in Italy, it's still a different level, different experience. You're leaving your country. You've never been there before, possibly for some young players. That's why Major League Baseball now is signing players and putting them in colleges first before they
Mm.
put them in professional baseball, because it's a tough life, right, for anybody. But yet, coming from that atmosphere, it's a little harder. So you've had the rougher path to get there. Also, I think you were the first professional player that was born in Italy. Am I correct?
I was the first pitcher that signed professionally.
Pitcher.
Yeah.
Liddy was the first major leaguer, right?
Lidi was the first major leaguer. I was the first pitcher that signed professionally, but before us, there were also some other Italian players that signed professionally. Um, yeah, there
That
were
were
there were a
born
few
in
that actually
Italy.
signed professionally. Yeah, yeah, born in Italy. Yeah, we had Mazzanti, we had Chiarini, we had
Okay,
Liverziani. There,
gotcha.
there's a few. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Before you, before you.
Before me, yeah, yeah, before me and Lidi. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
But going back to the book, obviously, all these experiences, and I mean, who else has it? Who else from another? There's not many players from another country that all of a sudden are playing not only in the U.S. professionally for the Cubs, but then are in Japan, Japan's higher level team, then Korea, then Mexico. I mean, Australia. I mean, you're talking about that's a great path, and I think it's a great learning experience, which I think a lot of players can learn from. So check out the book. Is the book in Italian and American, or only in Italian right
It's
now?
all in Italian. I kind of wanted to translate it at some point, but I was never able to. Also wanted to translate it in Japanese, but it never happened. I don't know if you know anybody that wants to do that. Why not? Let's do it.
I may have in Japan. I may have in Korea too. I may have a couple people. We'll talk about that offline. I may be able to connect you with where they might help you do that in those countries. I think that'd be great. Hey, okay. So now we're coming to the end. Let's take the overall experience. World Baseball Classic, your career. Um, you hear on MLB Network, and I've heard Cervelli talk about it and other people talk about it. Italian baseball, as it has been around since the World War when the Americans, barked at Anzio. They've done a great job developing players. You still have a second phase in Italian baseball. I think it go even a higher level, right? Meaning, I think more players from Italy can be playing in the States. Eventually, more major league players. Because I think they've got two things. I think they got one, that family characteristic. I think that it really creates a really good player. But also, I believe the Italians are pretty tough people. They don't put up with much. If somebody tells them you can't do it, well, they're not gonna put up with that. They're gonna do it. So I think that mental part is good too. The classic and all this now, they keep saying is really gonna build Italian baseball even more. Give us an idea of what it's done for Italian baseball.
No, I mean, I think we should try to how do you say, find a
Capitalize?
way,
Yeah.
capitalize, that's the word, capitalize as much as we can from this experience. It was crazy, like during that tournament, people here in Italy were talking about baseball, like random people.
Wow.
And that's crazy for us. Like nobody ever talks about our game. And the newspaper had articles about us. They also showed uh, three games on national TV, Rai 2, which is
Wow.
like it never happened before,
Never done. Yeah.
never done before. So, I think the federation and all of us should try to capitalize as much as we can. Uh, Even because right now, soccer, they're kind of struggling. So I think it could be the right moment to kind of push for our game because it's such a cool game that I think if more people get to know it, they're gonna fall in love with it just like we did. Um, but yeah, Italians are tough. One bad thing that we have, we're always, as Italians, we're always ready to criticize. We're always
Yeah.
ready to find,
Hey,
what's
I've been there.
negative
I'm like
about,
that too.
and that's what I would like for people to get better at. If you see social network, obviously social network, everybody, there's many people talking bad about stuff, but every time something comes out, a news from the Italian baseball, there's always somebody like ready to say something bad. Yes, but this, yes, but that.
They
I
find they
mean,
find the negative part of it. Right.
like there's so much positive that we can look at, and
Right.
we have to learn how to see the positive in things. Otherwise, we're gonna keep being in the same place where we always been. And what's the fun part about that? There's no fun part. This is what I feel really comfortable with working with Francisco because it's just like me. Like we see the positive in things. Like our players are good. Like we have great players here in Italy. And if you hear some of the people in baseball talking about our players, there's nothing good about them. There's always something wrong that they don't do. There's always something wrong. I mean, they never talk about good things about the player. Yeah, this guy is not good because this and that. Okay, but like he has all these other things that are really good. Like give this guy confidence because if he feels that confidence, he's probably gonna give you better better results during the game. Like sometimes even coaches inside of their teams, they're talking about bad about their players. And are you supposed to hoping that then the guy's gonna do good if you don't even trust your players? And so that's something we really have to get better at, like we have to love each other and we
Yeah.
have to pull for each other.
And I think you brought up a great point. I'll tell you why, because I think where you're starting in a good direction, you got Marco Mazzeri, the president,
Mm,
you got Savelli, you got your coaching staffs and all that. You guys have a fantastic coaching clinic that you do to help your coaches around the country. You're always trying to develop the grassroots, at least some of the clubs are. But I think when you take all this and the messaging is what you're talking about, if you keep taking that message all over Italy, and that's one reason Cervelli was good because he took his van, right? He drove all over Italy trying to see Italian baseball, talk to people. You got to change that type of culture a little bit. It's going to take a little time, but I got to believe with all the media attention you guys received in Italy, like you talked about, that these young kids, boy, they see that, right? Wow, this is big. I want to play baseball. That hopefully will increase because Alessandro, as good as anybody else, no federation, no government baseball program is going to go anywhere unless you have a good grassroots, young level program and high level. I mean, you got to have both of those. And if you don't have both, they're not going to develop because kids need to see something. Now they can see something, right? You got media showing you the classic. So I think it's big. I think it'll take time, but I think you got the right people in the right places right now to send those messages.
Yeah, I'm agree. I wish the classic was still on. That way, people were still talking about baseball. We have short memories. Some of them already
Yeah.
forgot. But it's pretty cool how, I also went to Bologna the other day to a baseball tournament, and people saw me and they were so happy to see me because I was part of that team, and they were so proud of what we did. And it's so cool to see people that are actually like happy about something. When usually we're used to like just being sad or mad about stuff that is going on, and that kind of like was a moment where they kind of like come together and it's like being happy about something for once, all together. And so again, but yeah, I think we have the right people. Obviously we have Marco in the federation, which is another guy that I really respect, and he's a great baseball guy, and I'm so happy that he decided to run for president and that he won. um and then all the guys that are helping him out as well. We have Jibo Gerali,
Yeah.
that you might know, that is
Oh, yeah.
our boss. Basically is the one that is running all the operation. And then again, Francisco and all the other coaches, like all the coaches that you probably don't know and people don't know about, like there's so much passion in those people that are on the field every day, and all the coaches in the national team. Like I also get to talk with all the pitching coaches for all the youth national teams, and those guys are so prepared. Those guys are so passionate, always ready to work. If you ask them to do something, they do it in a heartbeat. And so there's a lot of um, will of doing something more. And hopefully we're gonna be able to combine all these and actually do something good for our game here in Italy.
Awesome. Well, listen, man, this is a great way to end the show. I really appreciate your time. As you know, I follow Italian baseball all the time. I want to, wish you guys, a lot of luck in the future. I know I have a good feeling about Italian baseball because I've always said they had pretty big numbers when it came to the number of players, and I always thought they had more potential, even though they did well. I mean, I just felt like the potential's even bigger, and I believe that better things are going to come for Italian baseball. So thanks for joining us, and I appreciate it. And give my best to your family. I know we could have talked for 3 hours, but I know
Yeah, we can.
you got a young daughter. She's in gymnastics, and I could keep going, man. But thanks, man. I appreciate you joining us, Alex.
Thank you so much, man. It was great to see you again. Yeah, and thank you for
Likewise.
everything.
And I may see you soon. I'll be in Italy a couple times. I'll let you know offline when I'm
Please,
there. All right, cool,
please
man.
do.
All right, folks. Alessandro Maestri, World Baseball Classic pitching coach. This is Baseball Outside the Box. Don't forget, check us out on YouTube, Peter Caliendo, Spotify, Baseball Outside the Box. Subscribe. 120 countries. Let's make that 150. So help me out if you can. The more you subscribe, the more the show gets out there. So don't forget 3 things: be safe, be healthy, and God bless you. Ciao, everybody.